Gosh, anyone would think they're pleased to see me. Oh, bless them. You know, they do have homes. But, oh my goodness, the way they're chowing down. You think they were starving. You right, Rusty? Yep, I'm not going to get a peep out of him while he's munching. You right, Poppy? No, not going to get a peep out of you either, am I? Oh, you're such a pretty kitty. Right, let's get on with things. I feel like I haven't been here for ages. Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you're all well. Yeah, I feel like I've been away forever. So, obviously we had that week of snow. So, oops, if you dropped some, Rusty, never mind. We had that week of snow, so obviously no gardening. Just a bit of tidying up in the shed, because it always needs tidying. And since the snow melted, it's been that was about 5 days or so ago, and I just haven't been able to get down here. But I am today, and I suddenly feel like, there's loads of work to do. So I've written myself a list. I've checked it twice, because I need to know if I've been naughty or nice. There's quite a bit to do, but how to put it, it's not daunting. There's a couple of weeks now of, it's like the hard work, because it's the digging, turning in the field beans, what have you. So today I'm going to make a start on the tomato bed. So we'll go and have a little work on that in a minute. The next job will be to get the potato bed ready, which I probably won't do that today because I'm trying to space out the digging just to save me old bones. So one of the other things today is just go around and check what's been damaged beyond livable from all the frost and snow. So that'll be another job. I've also brought with me today, can you see, this is just one bag. So annoying. All right, Ross. Yes, some of you may have seen on the news, I know it's happened in a few parts of the country, but my little area in London seems to have got really badly hit with our mains water pipes bursting. So apparently the reason was the frost came too quickly and then the thaw came too quickly. So our ancient Victorian cast iron pipeworks, this is the mains, not in my flat, in the road, they've all been cracking and bursting. And they've been repairing the cracks, but then of course there's no water pressure. So I've had to buy bottled water. It really behoves me to do it because all this plastic, but I'm not going to waste it. So with all these bottles, I'm going to cut the bottom off, make an opening there, take the lid off, and then it's especially good for the squash. I'll explain why in a sec. They're going to go into the soil buried to about there, and then I'll put a long stick all the way through and it'll be for watering. So the great thing with that is for squash in particular, they hate getting their stems wet. It can really make them just rot overnight. So I always try to avoid watering my squash directly anyway, but also by doing, and the long stick is just so that when all the foliage comes at the height of summer, I can aim at the stick to know where the bottle is, so I'm not kind of having to pull all the leaves apart. The great thing about doing this as well is, rather than watering on the surface of the soil, which can quite quickly evaporate if we have a nice warm sunny day, by watering like this, I'm getting the water directly to the roots. I'm not watering the surface of the soil, so if you imagine this is going to be 8 to 10 inches down, it's going to be much harder for that water to then evaporate. So hopefully use less water, more direct watering, not splashing about all over the surface, not losing water to evaporation. So even though I hated having to buy bottled water because of all the plastic, I shan't waste it, I'll use it. And you know, it's kind of, when these things happen, it's a good reminder to us all to acknowledge how precious water is. You know, we take it for granted that we turn a tap on, we stick a glass underneath, and we've got beautiful, clean drinking water. We take it for granted that when we've used the loo, we can flush it and it all gets taken away and we don't have to think about it anymore. So I think I've always considered myself quite frugal with water in the home. So for instance, I don't have a bath every day, even though I'd love to have one. When I do, I save the water. I use it to water my seedlings, I use it for flushing the loo, etc., etc. But it is a good timely reminder to us all to be really, really water conscious. And that includes for the garden. So one of the things I still need to get my hands on is a water butt. But there's something in the offing there, so hopefully I'm going to be able to have a water butt. So saving water is really important, but then how we water the garden. So if you were watching any of the videos last year, you'll see I use grass clippings as mulch, I use cardboard as mulch. I basically use whatever I can get my hands on to mulch, so that once that soil is good and wet, particularly if it's a new bed, a heavy downpour, quickly get my mulch on the top to hopefully retain as much of that precious stuff as possible. Right then. Oh, cats have scarpered, they've had their fill, so it's time for me to scarper down to that tomato bed and get a bit of a wriggle on, because where are we? I don't know the date, 8th, 9th, 10th of March, somewhere around there. In about 3 weeks' time, it's all going to go bonkers out there. So come on, let's get digging. Just before I get digging, I thought I'd show you a couple of things. Look at this gorgeous Cavallonera, how it's bounced back after the snow and frost. If you remember a week ago, everything was under sort of 4 or 5 inches of snow, and this was so drooped. I honestly didn't think it would recover, but it has. It's amazing. And the other thing I want to show you, which I really didn't think would survive, oopla, just down this way, right on the other end of the cold frame, this big patch of the self-seeded Love in a Mist. I mean, you can see it's incredibly young and tender, and like I say, it was absolutely mashed down with sort of 4 or 5 inches of snow for a few days last week, but look how it's come back. It's amazing. Oh, I just love nature. I just love this resilience that these plants show. It's amazing. And then just coming down to the bed I'm going to work on today. Sorry, I'm a bit hobbly today. Excuse the wobbly picture. I was absolutely convinced that the celery had it. Absolutely sure it was stuffed. But again, it's coming back. So the plan today is I'm going to actually dig it out. Sorry, celery, you've just come back. So any of those little tender leaves that have come back, I'll save for cooking. And then the plan is to select a couple over here. I think that looks like a nice one, and the one next to it is to just leave those in. So they will be in amongst the tomatoes, but I'm going to leave them in to see if I can get a seed. Because the thing about celery is it produces seed in its second year. So if you think about it, these celery were actually sown pretty much this time 1 year ago. And here they are, surviving the winter, and hopefully leaving them in, I will get my first ever seed of my own to save. Yay! Right, let's get on with the work. Oh, and the other thing is this stock. I think for now I'll leave it there, but it may be that come tomato planting time, it might have to move, but I'm going to leave it for now because it's such a lovely little bit of colour at this time, isn't it? Oh, happy stock. It actually started flowering. Gosh, it started flowering last September, and it really shouldn't have done. It's you know, it's biennial, so I sowed it last year. It shouldn't have flowered till this year, but it's been at it for a few months now, so yeah, I think I'll leave it for now. Right, stop procrastinating, Vivi, you've got some digging to do. Right, which ones are staying? Who is going to be saved? I think that one. That one and those two. Right, gird your loins. Let's get poking this soil. They don't have massively deep roots. So, not huge roots, but just by pulling them all out today, it'll just give this soil a bit of a loosen. So that I can prep it for the tomatoes. Pull a few of the little weeds at the same time. There's not many. The main thing that I seem to spend my time pulling out is grass. You see, grass here and here, and that's because, well, basically where other folk don't keep their grass trimmed, of course it goes to seed and blows. Never mind. It's also getting to that time of year when I need to start thinking about trimming my edges. You know, I like a nice trim edge. Less places for the slugs to hide. Yeah, there's a few bits on here I can save. That's good. I think it might be time for some carrot and celery soup when I get in. Oh, that's the other thing I need to check today, is how the carrots fared after the snow and frosty nights. See, it's not too much of a dig, it's just really popping them out, just loosening things up again. Oh, sorry worms. I have noticed over the last couple of years my worm population increasing dramatically. Potato, 2 years ago. Yeah, the worm population has increased massively as I've sort of kept adding organic matter, cardboard, what have you. I remember even sort of 3 or 4 years ago, I could dig almost a whole bed and maybe find 1 worm, 2 worms, whereas now it's pretty much every time I've put the fork in the ground. I try not to dig too deep and I try not to disturb them too much, but as I'm not no dig, there is going to be a bit of soil disturbance. Hey ho. Look at the size of this one. Look at that beauty. Can you see? What a whopper. So I'm getting this, sort of like 2 or 3 like this, every time I pop the fork in. Isn't that beauty? Doing all that work for me. Thank you, pet worm. Don't stroke the worms, Vivi, they don't like it. It's lovely work on a day like today because it's not hard work, but it's hard enough to keep me warm. There's not a soul around, as per usual on a weekday. birds are just, they're singing their little hearts out. I've no doubt there'll be a few robins around in a moment to come and pick over this soil. Put the kettle on and enjoy the bird song. It's amazing when you think I haven't weeded this bed since, probably September last year. It does feel that after 2 or 3 years of effort with the weeding, it really is sort of paying off. So like I say, apart from the little bits of grass that get blown in, seem to be on top of it. There's hardly a weed in here now. Yay! Oh, the soil smells lovely. Oh, this is so lovely. And stretching, which is a bit naughty. Why don't you all go off and have your cup of tea whilst I finish this bed? In lovely quiet. So now that bed's had a little tickle, I have here my trusty little face mask in order to start getting the wood ash riddled. However, I'm not going to be able to do it for the moment because look who's decided to just hang around. Actually, little Poppy was there too. So the very last thing I want to be doing at the moment, is have the possibility of wood dust in the air around the cats because I don't want them to get it in their lungs. Are you off for a little bit of food? Good. Right, let's crack on. Well, that's one way to get rid of the cats. Put a few nibbles down for them. The thing is, just be really mindful when you're working with wood ash. If it's a really windy day, don't. If there are cats or dogs or other people or pets around, just hold off for a few minutes. I feel like I'm an immunology nurse again. I have to say these masks are not brilliant. I certainly wouldn't want to use one as protection from an infectious disease, but it'll just give me a bit of protection today whilst this dust is flying around. So just need to, I don't know if you can hear me through the mask and the glasses are stealing up. Give it a bit of a riddle, because there's sort of nails and screws and other bits in there. I don't need much for this bed. Ooh. And that is why I don't want to be doing it with the cats around. Ooh. So what I'm going to do, a couple of nails I've got through, is give it a bit of a sprinkle on the top of the tomato bed and then give it a light raking in a minute, because Poppy's just come back around the corner. Oh sweetheart, go and have some nibbles, be gone. These gorgeous cats are telling me I need a tea break. Right, that, hang on a sec. You're too far down. Come up here, you lot. That's now ready for mulching. And now that it's all safely raked in, I can take this off again. Do you know what? I'd forgotten how much I hated wearing a mask at work. It's horrible, it's sweaty and I've got stinky breath. Right, let's get some mulch ready. This hasn't rotted down nearly as much as I thought it would, and I've not got a huge amount of it. But it's a start, isn't it? And then, whoopla, when I come to planting, I'll just pull it aside a bit and plant through it. Oh, bringing worms as well. And then, obviously at the end of the season, I can just leave it all there over the winter to go down some more. Right, let's get a bit more. This one seems to stay wetter over the winter. It's starting to break down a bit better. And now I'm going to whack a load of cardboard on the top too. Woo! Oh, you can't beat getting your beds ready, can you? Come on, Vivi, cardboard. What a lovely little session this has been. It's so quiet, just the birds, absolutely blissful. So I've got that first tomato bed done. I'll do the other one tomorrow. I've had all sorts of, lots of little other jobs today, bit of sorting, tidying, what have you. So, and I don't have much time today. It's a case of grab a couple of hours when you can, and we do some rain this afternoon. But yeah, it's been beautiful, and exactly as I thought. The robins have been loving that the chickpea kind of mulchy stuff I've had out today. So as I've been in the rest of the garden, I had my rake across the barrow and my fork next to that bed. It was just full of robins darting down and feeding. It was so lovely. So not a mammoth session today, hopefully a more mammoth one tomorrow. But it just goes to show, doesn't it, even with a couple of hours, if you can get to your garden, do so, because it's so reviving and lovely. And one of the things I have to remember today is to take some onions home, because I'm getting a bit short at home. These are stored absolutely perfectly well. I know a few people were asking about the frost and stuff, but I think the shed has given them just enough protection to keep them absolutely fine and tickety-boo. So they're going to come home with me, and I'm going to carry on inventing recipes that involve tomatoes and beans. So I'm going to have another 5 or 10 minutes just sitting here in the quiet, watching, listening to, enjoying the birds. So for now I will say cheerio to you all. I hope for most of you that your snow is now melting or melted, and we're right on the cusp of spring, aren't we? So make the most of it, whatever you're up to. Don't panic if you feel a bit behind. There's still loads and loads of time. But just take your time to enjoy the precious little moments, and there can be moments every single day. So until I see you all again, which will be really soon I hope, I would just say to you all, take care and have fun whatever you're up to.